very special person and beloved Eric's House member, Mindy Szeto. In 2004, Mindy trained and opened a yoga studio in Fanwood, New Jersey. One of her earlier yogic teaching experiences was in support of someone who lost a loved one in 9/11. Over the next 20 years, she expanded her business to include health and life coaching. She also teaches Qigong, a Chinese energetic and medical practice. Simultaneously, she volunteered and trained as a grief facilitator at Imagine, a center for coping with loss, working primarily with teens. Today, Mindy and I are going to talk about her personal journey of grief and how movement plus yoga can provide solace. Welcome, Mindy. Thanks so much for being here.
Thank you, Maddie. Thank you for that wonderful introduction as well.
Thank you. I'd like to start off about you telling viewers a little bit more about your personal journey of grief.
Absolutely. So, in addition to running some grief yoga classes, my husband and I have been trained grief facilitators. I was focusing specifically on teens and young adults under the age of 30, and my husband has also worked with various different groups as a facilitator. Ironically and very unfortunately, my youngest son, I'm a mom of three, and my youngest son at the age of 26 took his life a little bit less than 2 years ago. With that, I would say my husband and I have been very blessed in that we stumbled upon Eric's House and we have been getting support services, and it's just been amazing for us to be in community with others and to help us through our grief and healing process.
Well, thank you so much for sharing your personal story and also supporting others in their grief and having that aspect of community. We're so honored to connect with you and hear more about your journey and hear more about how yoga has been a part of your life and how it might be helpful for those who are in grief or have experienced trauma, because we know that those things are in the mind and are also felt physically, that oftentimes when the body is in distress, emotions can become trapped in the body, and the weight of grief can be very heavy and trapped in certain parts of the body. So I'd like to talk more about how movement and yoga can support during the processing of grief or for those who are experiencing trauma.
Absolutely. So I think most of us, when we start thinking of healing, we think of getting support services that involve speaking and talking. And as important as that is, what I find and what I have found over the many years that I've been in this arena is that accompanying the speaking, we need to be able to move the grief and all of these physical experiences of feelings through our body. The energy can get very blocked and stuck, whether it be around trauma, whether it be around loss, or any kind of intense emotions. And for many of us, those intense emotions will continue to come up unless we continue to move them and give them an opportunity to release. That can be accomplished through many different means. Yoga is just one particular practice. But truly, anything that allows us to move, it can look like swimming, it can look like hiking, it can look like walking, it can look like screaming. One of my favorites, in addition to yoga, is dancing, and just to dance it out. One of the other things that I wanted to mention is even just simply shaking. Anytime we move the body, we're literally getting energy to release and move, and a lot of it is trapped energy. For those of you that have pets at home, when they get scared, they start to shake because intuitively they already know that they have to get and release and move this energy out of the body. So yoga is one form of allowing us to do that, but I highly encourage people to do any form that speaks to them that they know that they will practice.
Mhm. Excellent. You made a great point that talking and support services like therapy or support groups or whatever that looks like is great, but also the aspect of the release and the movement can be helpful for people. So exploring what that might look like for each individual can be a source of comfort for people.
Absolutely. And I recommend you try different things, and it doesn't have to be the same thing all the time. Just even varying it and seeing what works for you and what's accessible also is very important.
Yeah, absolutely. And how does breathing and breath work tie into different forms of movement to help provide some centering?
Absolutely. So when we are in grief, our bodies get very locked up and tight. And and our nervous systems get dysregulated. So just breathing allows us to start to regulate the nervous system. When I tie this into yoga, when a lot of people think of yoga, they think of people that are very flexible, bendy. They think of people that have dancers' bodies. And truly, just paying attention to the breath is the first step in yoga. What I love so much about teaching people to start to pay attention to the breath is that it's available to everybody anywhere. So whether you are driving in your car and you get triggered by a memory, whether you're standing on a supermarket line, whether you're sitting in front of a TV and just being distracted and starting to feel that sense of agitation or overwhelm and getting triggered by certain thoughts or memories, we can always just come back and pay attention to our breath. There's no special tools, there's no special time. You could do it sitting, lying down, standing up, in the middle of a party. No one is going to know. So it's always available to every one of us to help us regulate our nervous system by ourselves.
I love that. We can always come back to our breath and pay attention to that. That's wonderfully said. Thank you, Mindy. So, what do you think? Should we do a nice demonstration of some yoga and breathing for our viewers?
Absolutely. And what I'd really like to start with is a breathing method called box breathing. And this is a method that I find is available to everybody because it gives our conscious mind something to do. When I tell people, well, let's pay attention to the breath, I could tell they're already off thinking of their shopping list because the mind wants to be active and it's hard to settle it. So if we assign something for the mind to do, it helps us settle and get into a breathing practice. So a box breathing method, I'll just gently demonstrate that for you, and then we'll do that when we start doing a little bit of yoga in a few moments. But a box breathing method is simply to visualize a box in front of you. So we have the four sides of the box, if you could just imagine that. And we're going to do is we're going to inhale as we imagine ourselves going up one side of the box. We exhale as we're going across the top of the box. We inhale as we're going down, and we exhale as we're going across. That is the basic box breathing. We can enhance it and add a little bit more, but I think that's a really nice, pleasant place to start. And I want to remind people that it may take a moment or two for you to even just feel yourself slowing down, to feel yourself allowing to settle, to give your mind, again, a little bit of time to just gently start to slow and focus on the breath pattern. So we're going to do that. And from there, what we'll do is we will incorporate a few movements for the body so we can start moving some stuck energy out. Today, what we'll be doing is demoing what we call chair yoga. And one of the things I love about chair yoga is, again, this can be done anywhere, anytime that you're sitting in a chair. It's not that you need a special mat or a special setup. You can do it everywhere, anytime, just to begin to move the trapped and stuck energy. So I'm going to invite you to join me. One of the things we're going to do as we start is just to find our way into a chair. The most important thing here is always that you listen to your body. Even though I'm demoing, it's very important that you key in and notice what feels okay for you and what doesn't. There's a term called the guru, and that means basically that you are your own teacher. You are the one who knows what's going on in your body. As much as I'm demoing that to you, you are going to feel your way through this. So please take care and be mindful about how everything feels for you as we begin a bit of a gentle breathing practice, as well as some gentle movement. Okay. So I'm going to invite you to sit maybe towards the front half of the chair. And the reason we do that is because there's a natural tendency for us to kind of rest back and our spine not to be straight. And because we all have a tendency to kind of lean back into our chair, but we want to make sure that the energy can move through our nervous system. Pay attention for just a moment to really just plant your feet on the ground so you can feel the steadiness of the earth beneath you, the straight spine, and perhaps even have a mind towards lengthening up towards the crown of the head. And go ahead and close your eyes for a moment. As you close your eyes, just notice, maybe notice the heartbeat, notice your feet on the ground, and notice your crown of your head lengthening and reaching up towards the sky. And perhaps invite your shoulders to gently move down away from your ears. And as you close the eyes, I'm going to invite you to just check in for a moment mentally. Notice if the mind is racing with no judgment, just notice. Check in physically, notice if there's any areas that are calling out to you. Check in emotionally, perhaps, and just see if there's any needs that keep coming up for you. And I'm even going to invite you to check in spiritually, and that means something different to everyone. Maybe there's just a connection to something bigger than yourself. And as you do those check-ins, allow whatever needs to come to the surface. And I'm just going to invite you to bring your hands to your heart and bow your head in. And whatever arose for you when you did those check-ins, I'm going to invite you to set an intention. And an intention could be something as simple as, I find peace in the next 10 minutes. I pay attention to my breath. It could be anything like that. I show up with love. We always set our attention in the current, in the present. And just take a moment with your hands at your heart so that you're connecting to your heart as you set your intention. As long as it's true to you, as long as it speaks to you. And once you complete that, go ahead and let your hands come back to rest wherever you'd like in your lap. We're going to begin with our box breathing. So go ahead nice and easy and visualize a box in front of you. And imagine on your inhale, you're traveling up one side of the box. And on your exhale, you're finding yourself traveling across the top of the box. On the next inhale, you're moving down the other side of the box. And on your next exhale, you're traveling across the bottom length of the box. The inhale is going to take you up the side, and we're going to do a second round. The exhale will take you across the top line of the box. The next inhale will take you down the other side of the box. And the exhale will take you across the bottom of the box. Let's do 2 more rounds, and feel free to slow it down if that works for you. Going up the side of the box. Coming across the top of the box. The inhale brings you down the other side of the box. The exhale takes you across the bottom of the box. As we complete one more round, feel free to slow it down even more. Again, just giving your nervous system time, coming up the box, across the top, down the side of the box. And for our final exhale now, nice and easy, across the bottom. Feel free to open your eyes And what I'd like to do, if any of you found that a little bit challenging, I'm going to give you one other simple breath method that will allow you to connect to your body, and just put your hands on your lower abdomen. And on the inhale, I'm going to ask you to allow the abdomen to puff out like a beach ball right into the hands. And on the exhale, feel the belly draw back in as you empty your breath. This is called parasympathetic breathing, abdominal breathing, or diaphragmatic breathing. It allows the nervous system to calm. We're inhaling as we fill the belly, and we exhale as we empty the belly. Let's do 2 more rounds at your own pace. It may help you to close your eyes so you stay more internalized. The inhale with the belly filling up. The exhale with the belly slowly emptying. And the inhale again for our final round here, just paying attention to breath. And exhale. And then let your hands come back to just sit in your lap. The second breath method that I just taught you, I do a lot. I want to give you a possibility for yourself. I do it a lot at night in bed if I wake up with a very busy mind, 3 o'clock in the morning, which is a time for many of us. I'll just simply put my hands on my belly and do a few rounds of diaphragmatic breathing, just to allow myself, again, to give the conscious mind something to focus on, and to settle myself so that there'll be an opportunity to rest back into sleep. So you now have 2 different methods of breathing. Again, can be done anywhere, anytime. And I invite you to just try them on and see what works for you. We're going to move into a very gentle seated yoga practice. And again, think of what we're doing here. We set an intention, we went into some breathing, and now we're going to start moving the body very gently in ways that we could start to release energy and to perhaps connect more to any areas of tightness or tension that are sitting in the body. So the first thing I'd like to do again is just to remind you that we're going to be sitting towards the front half of the chair, if that works for you. Feet are planted on the ground. Our hands on our legs and as close to the knees as you can, but if you can't reach, it's fine for them to sit towards the thighs. And we're going to inhale as we start to round out the spine. We're going to tuck the chin into the chest. And as we exhale, we're going to arch the spine. We're going to slide the hands towards the groin. We're going to squeeze the shoulders back. And if you don't have any neck issues, you can even look up towards the ceiling. The inhale again, so repeating the movement, rounding out the spine. The exhale allows us to take a gentle arch. And what we're doing is we're starting to move energy through the spinal and the central nervous system. Let's do 2 more rounds. This is the first 2 natural movements of the spine. Nice and easy, arching the back, perhaps looking up if you choose. 1 more time, we're going to round out the back. This is called seated cat and cow. The exhale starts to arch the back, perhaps looking up, squeezing the shoulders back. And we're going to start to come now to our neutral spine, just sitting up nice and tall as we move into the 3rd and 4th natural movement of the spine. Completing this in a chair, we're going to take our hand down outside the left side of the chair, and the right arm is going to start to flow up nice and slow, and we're going to gently guide our body over towards that left arm. So we're getting a side body stretch right down the whole side of the body. The inhale comes back, the exhale, hand returns. Let's do the other side. 3rd and 4th natural movement of the spine. The inhale brings the arm up. The exhale, we come over. Feel that opening through the side body. The inhale comes up, and the exhale, nice and easy, comes down. Let's do that again. Other side, right arm's coming up as we inhale. Nice and easy, holding on. You can move your hand further down the chair if that's available to you. The inhale comes up, The exhale takes the arm down as we move to the left, coordinating with your breath as you can. As we come over, just getting some of the tension out of the body, the inhale comes up and the exhale comes down. So that was the third and fourth natural movement of the spine. We'll now move into the fifth and the sixth, and this is a twist. So if you have any herniated disc issues, bulging disc issues, I want you to be very mindful. Perhaps the twist is not right for you, and only you will know that because you're in your body. So just be very careful. What we're going to do is take our left hand outside the right knee, and you can take your right hand and just slide it back over the chair. Take an inhale and lengthen, and keep your chin in line with your chest plate so you don't overdo your neck. And as you exhale, you're going to start to twist to the right. The inhale lifts you up, and the exhale allows you to twist a little deeper, only if that feels okay for your body. One more time, the inhale comes up, the exhale twists you a little bit deeper, and then slowly derotate the spine, paying attention to how you feel before we go to the other side. Moving now to the other side, and this is the fifth and now the sixth natural movement. We place our right hand outside our left knee, left hand can come behind the chair. If you're not sitting on a chair where you can get it behind, you can just put it behind you on the seat of the chair. As you inhale, lengthen the crown of the head up. As you exhale, begin your twist. Once again, the inhale lengthens, the exhale allows you to twist. One more time, inhale, exhale, and then very slowly begin to derotate your spine, just taking mindful breaths as you come back to center. We're going to add another move for the hips. So the hips are commonly known in the yogic world as the junk drawer of our emotions. So things that don't get processed tend to sit in our hips, and that starts to lead to what people assume are back problems, but really they generate and they emanate from our hips. So what we're going to do, if you can, you're going to keep your left foot down, and you're just going to take your right knee in towards you, just hug it in, and all we're going to do, you can hold one hand or two, we're just going to move the knee out to the side and back. Just starting to open up the window of that right hip. Nice and gentle, nice and easy. And then if that feels okay, just testing it out, let the leg rest for just a moment. I'm going to go to the other side, bring in the left knee, and once again, we're just going to open up the window or the doorway of the hip, nice and slow. And these look like very simple movements. And that's why it's accessible, but it also really allows any of that trapped energy, the trapped emotions to start to give them an avenue to release. So we're just testing out how the hips feel, always checking in. Let's lower that leg down. And now you're going to come back to that right leg. And you have some options here. You can bring the leg in with your hands. Some of you may find that you can hold on to the chair and you don't need the support of your hands. So I'll show you both ways. We're just going to make circles now. We're going to make circles with that knee, really starting to open up, release the hips. For those of you that are finding there may be some lower back issues starting to show up, you'll see as you release the tension from the hips as well as maybe the hamstrings, the hips start to open and take pressure off the back. Let's just change the direction. So for those of you that need more support, you can bring your hands to your knee with both hands. If you don't need any support, you can do the move without your hands. Again, find the level that works for you, and let's lower that foot to the ground. As we do, place your hands back, close the eyes, hands come back to the legs. Just take a breath in so you have a moment to check in. You could do your abdominal breathing or diaphragmatic breathing. And the exhale allows you to release. Let's do one more. The inhale allows you nice and easy to breathe and fill up the belly. The exhale allows you to empty. We'll open our eyes if you choose and switch to the other side. So your right foot is going to press into the earth, so you're always grounded. The left knee is going to come in, and we're going to start to make circles. What you may begin to notice is one side of the body feels different. You may find more comfort or more strain. And what I always say is that side that calls your attention is sort of what I call the needy child. So we need to pay more attention to that side. Maybe that means moving slower or not, the movement is not quite as big. When you feel like it, go ahead and go the other direction. Nice and slow. We have a tendency to speed up to get through things instead of experiencing things in the moment. And then lower the foot down. Notice how your hips feel. Go ahead and take an abdominal breath. Feel free to move your hands back to the belly till you get used to breathing with filling up the belly. As we close this part of our practice today, we're going to bring our hands back to our heart. We're going to bow the head in. I'm going to ask you to recall the intention, if you can, that you stated just a brief few moments ago. Just breathing as you call it back into your mind. And once again, I'm just going to invite you to let that intention be your guiding force as you move back out into your world. Bringing our hands back to rest. Just opening the eyes, fluttering them open whenever you're ready. And I hope you were able to begin to see how this breathing methods, both diaphragmatic breathing, box breathing, allows the body to calm. It's a practice. And the reason I'm stressing that is we don't want you to think, oh, well, I couldn't stop my mind thinking. It's something that we have to do repetitively so we have a trust in the breath and we allow ourselves to gently move into it. So think of all of this as a practice. I hope that this was a bit eye-opening for people. I hope it's something that you found accessible, and I hope that you can bring it into your daily life.
Mindy, thank you so much for taking us through that insightful and relaxing experience. We really appreciate your time and treasure.
My pleasure. Thank you.